Joining us in the studio, we are pleased to welcome back Robert McSween and local author and cancer survivor John Mara, joined by cancer survivor Teresa DiNallo. We're going to be talking about an event that's taking place tonight at the Mayfield Village Community Center. It's called Don't Just Survive, Thrive. And we're going to talk about how you can actually cope with cancer. It does not have to be a death sentence. Welcome back to WINT, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, Rob, let's start with you. This event tonight at Mayfield Village Community Center, it's at 6 o'clock and it runs till 9 o'clock, features something unusual in terms of a way for people to monitor how they're doing physically. Even if you don't have cancer but might prevent cancer. Tell us a little bit about this latest way to this latest tool in the arsenal.
So we're all being told to participate in prevention education. And our doctors always say, eat healthy and exercise, but what does that really mean? And what can you see?
Yeah, how do you monitor the results of that?
How do you know if you're being effective?
And so here, for the first time, we have the use of a biophotonic laser scanner from Pharmadex. In 30 seconds, we'll give you a systemic reading of your skin carotenoid score, which is an indicator of your overall immune health. And so here, plant compounds are an important part of our immune system for cancer prevention, disease prevention. And so here, we're allowing people, and we're going to give people a chance to come tonight and get a baseline score to see where they're at. They can see whether what they're doing is effective or if they need to make improvements.
Now, carotenoids, I mean, for what most of people understand them to be, the term, I guess, is antioxidants. We hear that so much. More people are probably familiar with that term.
So what we're checking for are the colors of the foods we eat. Spices, herbs, fruits, and vegetables, all those different colors are very complex chemicals that are part of the immune system. They neutralize free radicals that can cause DNA damage. And so not only are the colors part of this, but also the flavors and other components. And here the laser scanner will produce a skin reading in 30 seconds that will show you your overall body score. And
right.
So
and you ran my numbers the other day, and I'm somebody who is proactive. I'm listening to those commercials and things and to words of the doctors, and
I've been
shopping and buying a very colorful buggy full of stuff and trying to intake that. But when you ran my numbers, I wasn't as impressed as I thought I was going to be.
Sure.
I thought I was doing well, and I'm not doing so well on that score, although I am doing better than Steve. Okay,
so we gave you an incentive,
but absolutely,
and we brought our secret weapon into the studio here.
That's what this does is it sheds light on. You think, well, I made an improvement. I'm eating those blueberries. I'm having a fruit, a smoothie, once a week or something. I must be doing well. And it's really eye-opening. So,
well, Teresa DiNallo is a cancer survivor, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her story and how this new technology is helping her in her fight. Teresa, first of all, congratulations on what you've been able to accomplish so far. Give us a quick thumbnail about what happened in your life and where you're at now.
What's your experience?
Well, in 2013 is when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I, of course, I thought I was eating healthy, just like everybody else. I was, eating chicken primarily, dairy, eggs. I didn't really eat out at restaurants much. But lo and behold, I found out I had breast cancer, and through research and going against the advice of the allopathic medical community, I decided to just continue going down a path of how I can heal myself holistically and through nutrition. So I just turned to a vegan, plant-based diet, and it was a sacrifice. I did learn how to cut out foods that were feeding the cancers, primarily sugar, and I just stuck with it. And it was a hard journey. It was definitely a roller coaster ride emotionally because, I was thinking, how do I know if I'm really doing well? I didn't know anything about this scanning system that we now have. And
right, it's happening in your body.
Right.
You wouldn't know if you're being effective or not.
Right. The only thing I was able to measure was my pH, so there I was able to determine I was going from an acidic to an alkaline base.
So this was 2013 when you were diagnosed.
Right.
Here we are 2 years later. What's your current condition?
There's NED, which is basically no evidence of disease. As of January 30th, my father's birthday.
So your regular doctors had to be amazed.
Yeah, well, actually, I cut out medical doctors pretty much. I do have a holistic doctor that I see. He is an MD trained doctor, and he monitors my progress. But
Who would that be? Because, that's a question. There was
People
a
are like,
doctor.
where do you find him? Right.
I think his name was John Barron, who was like the father of this here in Northeast Ohio many, many years ago. And I know somebody who was under his treatment, and they did pretty much exactly what you did. They turned to a heavy, heavy juicing diet to build up their immune system, in combination back then with some traditional treatments as well. But this particular woman beat breast cancer twice and brain cancer.
Yeah, I totally believe that. I mean, it's what you're putting in your body. I mean, we're living cells, we're living organisms. We need to thrive with the same.
So, did you have any traditional forms of chemo or radiation as well?
None
so
of
this
it.
was
I did no
purely a
surgery.
holistic type of cure.
You did no surgery. You had a diagnosis that anyone else would be having now major medical appointments going in for
Correct.
this scan and for that testing
Correct.
and another biopsy and going through all that kind of
Yes.
stuff. Was that scary, or were you very empowered to do that? I mean, I can believe that you were empowered, but at the same time, praying and hoping and
yes,
scared that it was going to
exactly.
be effective.
I did a lot of praying. I did a lot of crying, especially the first year. Because again, you don't know. You don't know, is this working? But I was also able to feel. So I felt the lump getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it turned into a soft, mushy mass, and eventually it's not anywhere detectable by human touch. So I was very nervous and very skeptical at first, but I kept reading. I kept educating myself. And the more I read, the more empowered I became. And the more, honestly, the more upset I became, because we as a community we've been lied to. We have not been given full truth.
That's what they
Right,
talk
we're
about.
not being
Cancer is a
educated.
business today.
It is a business.
It's a business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Big Pharma certainly doesn't want success stories like this to be talked about. So tell us what you do eat, and take us through a typical 1-minute summary of your daily food intake.
Tell us first what your score is.
Right.
Well, okay,
Save that
so
incentive.
before I even heard about the scanning, I obviously over 2 years now I've been doing my diet, and I came in for the first time. My score was at 77,000.
Whoa!
That's higher than Dr. Oz at 75.
Yes,
Yeah.
and this was on June 5th. So tonight I'll be getting another scan.
So you have no idea what your scan was when you were first diagnosed
Right.
or pre-cancer,
Right.
but it was probably like the average American, somewhere between 20 and 30,000, where the
Right.
average American sees.
Monday, Dr. Moore and I went into the Cleveland Clinic Oncology Department, and we scanned a friend that was just diagnosed with cancer, and she was at 20,000. And so now she
Which
has
is a ripe
baseline.
environment for the cancer to be growing.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so,
when you're
Teresa,
at
again-
77, you're cutting it off.
Yeah.
So
Take us through your
how did
daily
you get to that number?
your daily diet.
Well, for instance, like this morning, I had a 16-ounce fresh squeezed juice, and that had kale, carrots, cucumber, celery, you name it.
Lots of green vegetables.
Lots of greens.
How do you make that taste good?
Lemon. I had
Lemon?
to cut the bitterness with lemon, and honestly, now 2 years later, without having any sugar in my body, other
You don't
than
miss it.
natural, I don't miss it, and my taste buds have adjusted.
Changed,
you know,
right.
so you do adjust.
Okay, and then
then-
what about during the day?
Well, I had a bowl of quinoa with bananas this morning, sprinkled with a heavy dose of cinnamon and rice milk. So that was like my cereal.
as opposed to regular dairy cow milk,
Right.
Rice
right.
milk.
Stay
How about
away.
almond milk, soy milk? Are they all acceptable too, or is rice milk
They're
the
okay.
leading form of
I like-
liquid on a cereal?
I like the rice milk only because I look out for carrageenan, which is a thickening agent that's primarily found in a lot of organic foods, and that's carcinogenic.
It's like a waxy kind of, right.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All right. So now let's go to lunch.
Lunch is typically, I'll run to Heinen's, I'll grab an organic salad container and load it up with lots of veggies. I'll use lemon juice, vinegar, olive oil, and,
So a little bit of the Mediterranean type
Right.
diet there.
raspberries, blackberries.
Trying to be more aware of organic foods rather than just if you have the choice or you have the option,
I do
you'll
organic.
go organic.
Yes.
Okay. Do
always.
you ever add any proteins to your salads?
Well, believe it or not, your salad does have a lot of protein.
Well, I'm saying typically in terms of what people would consider like a
Meat.
a meat or anything like that, or a fish, or do you eat any?
So you're going
any
vegan,
seafood?
no eggs even.
No
then.
eggs. I'm a very strict vegan.
No seafood?
fish. No seafoods. I just do primarily quinoa is loaded with protein. A lot of people don't realize you can get a lot of
Okay.
protein from whole grains.
All right, how about now between lunch and dinner?
Lunch and dinner, I'll snack on fruit. Raspberries, blackberries, hummus.
Okay, and then take us into dinner, which is the main meal for a lot of
Dinner,
people.
it can be anything. I'm Italian, so I have to have my pasta, but I only do brown rice pasta.
Brown rice pasta, okay.
Yes, I'll do stir fries, vegetable stir fries, soups.
So this does not sound like it's a
not
gross,
difficult.
yucky diet that most
No,
people
and she's full vegan. I mean, you could
Right.
go vegetarian and have some fish and things in there then too, right? Or eggs,
It could be a cheating vegan like
right.
John over here.
right. Instead of having your red meat, just stay with like salmon and things like that.
Well, we've only
Still
got a
be
couple
eating
of
very
minutes
healthy.
left, so let's talk about tonight's event at the Mayfield Village Community Center. John, you want to jump in there and talk about what we can expect tonight?
Sure. What we can expect is basically we are going to talk about. I'll give a brief description of how I beat my cancer. Also, Teresa will give hers, and then also Susie Whalen. She's another cancer survivor that basically she was faced with the same thing. They wanted to do chemo and radiation. She had a lobectomy, but she chose not to. And with nutrition, now is doing phenomenal.
It's poignant to have people living and breathing, standing right in front of you that are cancer-free, and they did it themselves through eating and just making your choices of what not to be eating.
Then we're going to Teresa's going to give a presentation about nutrition and about the GMOs and how it harms the body and so forth, similar to what we talked about today. And then also she'll go into depth about her story. And then we're going to do the testing throughout, the carotenoid testing, which will be a
Get your
baseline.
number.
We're going to show the Dr. Oz video. By the way, everyone can go to my website, cancerescapee.com. There'll be information there about where the event is. There's a Dr. Oz video there you can see.
And
then
people
again,
should
you can
also pick
contact
up
us.
your book that is called Cause, Cure, and Cancer Free, How I Became a Cancer Escapee by John Mara. And you can go to the website, cancerescapee.com. And testing today, that'll be available as well, Rob?
Yes, so we'll be scanning everybody, and this is an opportunity for everybody to become part of a national movement on Know Your Score.
And any cost for the scan tonight?
It's going to be free.
Absolutely.
We want everybody
folks,
walking
you
out with
gotta
a
do
number.
this. I
It empowers you to know, how much work.
Yeah, I'm
that you
taking
need
this
to do.
seriously now. That I'm getting a little bit older and feeling some aches and pains and things. And
You can do something
fortunately,
about it.
haven't been diagnosed with cancer. But just from the standpoint, I think this has got to just help you feel better overall.
Yes.
Small changes can make a big difference,
All right.
and this is prevention.
Well, tonight at the Mayfield Village Community Center from 6 until 9 p.m., you should stop by. Take a listen to these cancer survivor stories called Don't Just Survive, Thrive. Real, live cancer survivors who beat cancer, not through the typical surgeries and chemos and things, but on their own with the help of God, I guess you might say, because Mother Nature and God created all of these foods that so many of our medicines are
Food
and
from
should be-
God,
should
food
be
from
coming
God's garden.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. Well, continued success, good health, and look forward to seeing you tonight.
Thank you.
Great. Thank
All
you.
right. John Mara, Robert McSween, and Teresa Dinallo. You should be there tonight, 6 o'clock at the Mayfield Village Community Center. Don't just survive, thrive. I'm Steve Newman.
I'm Linda Uhas.